Hello and welcome back to Hoi 4 Equestria at War, the polar bear communities under Paul Wellington. And today's episode, Insanity! The news spread like lightning, of course, even for an untamed land without proper roads and communication, as with the intent. Across the polar bear uninhabited lands, clans reacted in absolute disbelief. As they learned what had happened, they rose in revolt. Paul Wellington had been testing their patience for a long time, but this was pure insanity, which should never have been allowed in the first place. In a giant fortress beneath the great mountains that stretched across lands, and yaks and bears and even griffins, the princess of Clan started marshalling her forces to save her kind from this mad tyrant and prevent the nightmare that would rise from this. Near the most northern shores, where even the hardest of beasts couldn't endure the brutal winds, a lord of lightning and thunder took the news of new order in disbelief. His friend could never be that mad, could he? No, it smelled of a conspiracy and something foul and disgusting. It smelled of bugs. No other creatures could have manufactured something so insulting and yet destructive. They must have done this because they were afraid. They must have known what awaited that the wretched kind if the North was truly united. And they did not be allowed to win. And this Lord of Thunder, too, raised his forces, depleted as his clan was from years of war. And of course the despot himself, realizing now that he had ruined his dream, that he would now have to put down every clan, armored himself with grim determination, an idea of salvation, and marshaled his forces. I do what must be done. The other clans deny Paul Wellington's rightful rule over the lands of Yersings and forced our realm to a second age of strife. Even if we must force a second war of unification, Clan Skyfing and Paul Wellington, shall we be victorious again? We will save them from the enemy. It seems perfidious forces of changelings have subverted our very leadership. For another way could our realm be plunged into the second age of strife. With even Paul Wellington's situation unknown, Thunderlord Torben and Clan Swatzel's must triumph in the second war of unification so the true enemy can be tackled. Or I must save them from madness. The mad actions of Paul Wellington have forced a second age of strife upon the lands of the polar bears. We cannot let the history repeat. Clan Vulture and Princess Aria must unite the polar bears so that our kind does not succumb to madness again. I think we're gonna go with the princess. I think that's what we'll go with. It just seems like the fun option. This is insanity. We cannot tolerate such stupid and spiteful actions any longer. Clan Skyfling and Paul Wellington have proven again and again that they do not desire to govern in true representation of all bears. Instead, merely desiring to turn every bear else into an extension of their own. Thus it falls to us to reforge the state they forged from blood into something better. Yes, beautiful, beautiful. It must be done. The task ahead: chaos, destruction, death. As Princess Era, I'm gonna go with Era. As Princess Hera watched the many bears of Clan Vulgar make ready for battle, her only thoughts were about the task ahead of them. It would be difficult, that much was certain, much like the despot did before them. Clan Vulgar would have to demonstrate their strength, their fortitude, and their conviction, if they were to sway or force the other clans into accepting their rule. But Hera would see it through. She had to see it through, if they were to save the bears from themselves and each other, and rule united as leaders and not subjugators. And that despite her determinations, Era couldn't help but wonder if there could have been a different path. Could she have convinced Paul Wellington to see things differently, to try something else? Could she have saved her kind without the need for this new war of bloodshed? Or were acts of superiority the only method that the other clans understood? Princess Era did not know. But what she did know was that these questions were not just ones for the past. What she did know now would decide the future, or not just her clan, but the future of all clans and perhaps even all bears in the world, for a new and better future. The war within. Even if we desire to advance onward and reunite the bears under a more proper moral and economic goal, we must solve our inner issues first. For it seems the older and younger generations have been divided by the opening of the borders, sometimes through destruction of fortifications that Paul Wellington has done as one of his last actions. Problems within the holds. While the other clans continue to clash in the frozen north, a serious issue has developed in Clan Vulgar itself. For while he no longer holds control over the polar bears, Paul Wellington's last actions of opening the borders to the former exiles has caused heated debate and conflict within the elders and young ones in the clan. It is clear that if we are to march and unite the bears once more, Princess Era must take a side and solve the issues before it spirals out of control. On one paw, the younger bears want the clan to accept all bears who are returning to the land. Their numbers will be necessary to subdue the other clans, they say, and thus any aid offered should be taken. In the spirit of friendship, we must be accepting of all the exiles and keep the borders open. On the other paw, the elders of the clan wish to limit the number of exiles we accept into Clan Vulgar. While the clan is largely exiles at the point now, with the princess being one herself, there's reason the others were not let back in before. Not all of them are as harmonious as the clan, and some were expelled for crimes even many of the clan abhor. Though the borders should not be closed entirely, they must still only allow those trustworthy to enter. What to choose? So we could do the wisdom of the elders prevails, or a new generation emerges. That's a lot of, that's 10,000. That's stability, political power. The caution of the elders. I'm gonna do a save here. I want to check out both options, just because I always like checking out both options. Like, I love reading events, and don't want to miss out on reading that event because I read this event. I mean, I'm probably not playing this nation twice, so actually, I think I've heard that this path is how you get the calmness path as well. Like, you can do the harmonic path and the calmness path. But first I'll do the wisdom of the elders prevails. The caution of the elders is right. There's a reason why even if our princess and her friends were allowed back in, countless others were not. There are many exiles which were forced to leave not because of their arrogance or weakness, but rather for their crimes and insanity. We should not simply take anyone back in. Man, we're right here. This is what we've got. The rest of it is in other hands right now. This is us right here. Hey, we'll get there. Keld of Clan Vulgar watched as the latest bear who had arrived at the borders that marked the beginning of bear territory walked away, slowly disappearing into the white winds of snow. The last few days had been a flurry of activity, as countless Yersins from abroad who had heard the news of the recent openings and chaos had returned, eager to rejoin the homeland. Some were allowed entry, others were not. There were some true and utter bears of insanity, holding ideas radical even for the vulgar. There were even a few exiles from Slovenia, now Stalingrad, who were ultimately deemed too dangerous. It was quite possible that this was a mistake, that the future conflicts would require numbers, and that the bears turned away and sway away, and all across the borders would have made a crucial difference. But at least Keld and many other warriors and elders he knew in Vulgar felt at ease knowing that the clan was still safe from within. Unity would be maintained, unity under the princess, and that was what was most important. This was the right decision. Or was it the right decision? Well, let's see. In the other reality, where we didn't do that. There's no transition. It's not like we didn't do that and then it's me reading or something. Like, it's not that. I'm not like, no. This is us waiting until I can successfully load the game and then click and then press load and then for this to load in and then for me to click and then for us to continue. Like, this isn't me just being like, yeah, the transition effect, woo. No, that's if you're new to my channel, I don't really do that here. I don't really edit like this weird editing craze. I don't really do that. You know, that sounds like a lot of work, so I don't really do that. Instead, I just don't edit. A new generation emerges. Even if we must respect the elders, the younger generation is right, in both principle of friendship and more pragmatic needs for numbers. We should accept any and all bears that offer their help for us. Perhaps even when the war is done, we can create a better policy towards the countless exiles, but for now, the borders will be open. Woo! A wave of volunteers. With the borders open, thousands of polar bears have recently streamed into the clan, coming from a wide variety of places. While the vast majority of them have agreed to aid us in the unification of polar bear lands. There are quite a few that even the younger members of the clan consider to have suspicious backgrounds. There have been no issues of violence yet. It is clear their newcomers do not share the principles of friendship and harmony, though we will allow them to fight for the clan. We should also keep a close eye on these exiles. We can now get Chairman Ice Bear if we want to, Asker Vulgar, which is Daily Supremacist, or Tappa Vulgar, so we basically get political advisors we can choose to hire. Well, that's cool. That gives us options. We have options now. We don't have to do anything, but we have options. I like that. And it gave us pony powers. The war without. We are united, willing, and harmonious. Now the time has come to finally march outwards and reunite the polar bears under a far more moral, harmonic, and proper manner. Let us hope harmony can preserve against both barbarity and blind fanaticism. Turn our gaze north. It seems that perhaps the ideas of reasonable equity and of friendship are not lost on the Westlandians, for they have formed an alliance of their own in order to survive the difficult period, yet perhaps we should be wary of their newfound unity too. The Triple Alliance. Westlandia, the region of the north, has always been the most normal to other creatures, making it the strangest for bears. The land is dense with forests and filled with game and berries, fertile enough to grow tubers and other such food. The animals there are standard in the sense of griffins or ponies, instead of magical beasts standard in the rest of the land. Even its long coastline is ripe with fish, seals, and other such creatures. Yet despite all these resources at their disposal, no clan ever became leader of the region to assert dominance over the foods in other clans. Even facing Nova Griffonian invasion, the clans did not unify, instead reclaiming land and enslaving the griffins who had arrived. This has all changed, though, as the three current clans, Felsen, Broktut, and Broadcorp, products of seemingly endless cycle of clans rising and shattering, have forged an alliance of equals. While something like this has never been seen before by the clans, it may be the result of their similar traditions and use of griffin servants. Though their ability to cooperate as equals is admirable, they claim that the Triple Alliance, as it was now being referred to, was seeking to usurp power of the bears for themselves, as many of the clans worried and believing that the conflict may be the only option remaining. How do we deal with this? So we can, again, we have an option. And again, I want to see both options. And again, I like seeing events. Look, events are fun, okay. Get over it. We are making nothing right now. Wow. Things are going well, I see. Things are going pretty well. Swipe our claws at Westlandia. The Triple Alliance of Westlandia, very notable, and without any hiding towards that fact, desiring nothing less than subjugation of every other bear clan beneath their claws. While we oppose unnecessary conflict, this is one of the countless cases where there is no other choice. There's another choice right here. 3-on-1. While Paul Wellington had defeated the clans of Westlandia once before, Clan Volsker would not be able to replicate the tactics of the despot to defeat the clans of North in battle. They simply did not have the numerical advantage to afford such an attack, especially against the combined might of the Triple Alliance. It was also clear that they would be unable to win a long drawn-out conflict, so in typical bear tradition, a large show of overwhelming force and victory would be needed to cow them into submission. Our forces met the three clans in the warbands at the river, a natural border and battlefield for the fight. Though our warriors were clad in star steel armor and fought valiantly, Westlandia simply had more numbers and began forcing Vulgar on the defensive. They crossed the river in forces, making it all the way to the foot of the mountains. Then the Nanuks arrived, climbing down the mountainside to reinforce the remaining warbands. Having decades of experience fighting monsters far more terrifying than a mere Ursane, they proved to turn the tide of the clan Vulgar fought with renewed vigor. Now it was Westlandia's turn to push back. They were forced to cross the river until they finally surrendered. Realizing that the conflict was all but over now, the clan leaders met with Ira soon after to lay down their weapons and admit their status as subjects once more, but this time under a new master. So that when we lose pony power, or bear power in this instant, basically it's a quicker event than the other option, but it's just negative. We hurt them, they hurt us, we win, we move on. But let's check out the other option, because I'm a big fan of friendship and harmony, and you should be too. I mean, come on. How could you not be a fan of friendship and harmony? It's friendship and harmony. Like, my guy, come on. Extend our claw to Westlandia. The Westlandians have always been the clan more touched by civilization, that, even if barely, fit more with harmonious ideas that we can ourselves aspire towards. Perhaps we could extend a claw of friendship towards them, showing them and perhaps everyone else that we do not repeat the same mistakes as Skyfling. Oh, I didn't know we had a severe famine. Our food gone, our supply of fish and plants cut off, we are starving. Almost every aspect of our clan crippled. If we are to survive, we need to secure a source of food, and fast. That's fine. We don't need food. Paul Wellington is our guy there as well. Wow. Narcissist much. Do we have a good guy to put on? Yeah, we have a silent work. Polar bear. Tripartite diplomacy. The clan leaders in Princess Era had agreed to meet on the edge of the forest north of the mountains of Clan Volgar, the general border of the that separated their controlled territory from the Westlandians. The arrival of both delegations were relatively uneventful, something that gave hope to the princess and her companions. The fact that they had not used any grand shows of force or great threats against them, usually used to intimidate an enemy clan into submission in such talks, meant they clearly wanted to speak on equal footing. The negotiations were long, and though it was mostly uneventful and civilized, and most arguments were talked down through words, there was still a fair bit of fights and violence, with some full Surigarians leaving with a few broken ribs. The demands of the Westlandians were small, only involving some basic concepts for future agricultural and economic plans of all things, as well as promises that their current system of dominion over the Griffins would be left alone. Perhaps the rumor of not them wanting dominion over all bears was just that. Or perhaps the fear of being surrounded by other clans had driven them to open their minds. The end result is the same. The clans of Westlandians have submitted to our ideas and protection. At least they were reasonable, and we got a lot of pony power from that. Oh my. I'm very happy with that. Our flags over Westlandia. The clans of Westlandia have now understood why the bears need a harmonious system, and the beautiful future we promised to them, and now admit our authority. Our flags wave over their holds, and the roads to the north and west lay open. Now we will be able to bring the enlightenment of harmony to all that live in the polar bear lands. So we have a civil war in Alenia, we have a constitutional uprising, we have the Grand Galloping Gala. Wow, okay, you're going commie. How interesting. So this will give us harmony support, stability, some pony power, and help with clan divides, and we'll get out Westlandia no longer against us. Overall, I'd say this is real good. Reclaim root farms. Westlandian land is perfect in growing the few species of tubers that endure in the climate that the whelps and other lessers within most bear clans decide on. As chaos consumed the bearlands, we lost our access to pseudo-farms, where these were grown for a short span of time, with rather disastrous results. Tubers are not the preferred food of a bear, but they are enough to decide on for now. Oh wait, no, that needs 127, so yeah, I'm gonna have to go and do this. Next, I will get the clan list. I would get an event to do if I did that one, which I probably will save the game and use that guide just so I can see that event, even if I don't go that path. Secure fish roads. Well, we can of course decide on tubers and roots. A bear clan could not endure for long without fish. Yet again, our unfavorable position led to issues here. The routes were cut off, the farms aligned to us taken over. It took some time to reestablish these roads again, yet now we can feel like a proper clan again. Woo! Let's go. Open up sea hunting grounds. We have enough food to feed our own, barely. That could still change at a moment's notice, however. Many worry that we could fall back into famine soon, and something must be done to restore confidence. Open up seal hunting grounds. Seals, walrus, sea elephants, and various other beasts of similar types are not exactly rare on the rocky coast of the northern seas, yet they are considered something off limits for most. For after the creatures were nearly driven into extinction, consumption of such meat was only allowed for elders and the most fearsome warriors. Let's spoil our veterans for a bit. Nice. Remember the crimes of the Uniters. We cannot be attacked or besieged anymore. Our troops too numerous and our land too vast to be overtaken by either Skyfing or Swarfpels. We cannot rest now, even if some claim that we would be best to wait and properly prepare. No, we must remind our warriors and our citizens for why it's so important that we unite all bears as soon as possible. As the last bear left the room of Princess Era, she let herself sit back in an icy chair and relax, tired of dealing with today's issues. From sunrise to sunset, she had been met with a plethora of bears of the clan, ranging from warriors to elders asking why they were continuing to fight against the remaining clans. Arguments had ranged from simply wanting more time to recover to wondering why we were wasting times on bears that were clearly unharmonic. They were more trouble than they were worth, and that Clan Vulgar should just focus on their own bears now that their situation was secure. For every single visitor, Era made it clear that the decision was not up for debate. The new path the polar bear would be for all of them, not just for those in the clan. Not only that, but the longer they remained fragmented, the weaker they would become, and the greater the chance that some foreigners would take the opportunity to invade. A few of the more stubborn bears she had threatened to get them to comply, but by the end of it, every bear that left was either satisfied or unwilling to go against the princess. They were ready to march once more and finish what they had started. We will not leave any bear behind. Let's start with... We'll start with the Beast. The Beast. Tarban and Clan Swarfpels are rather unique. Perhaps would be a word that would fit. Brutal and forgiving beasts on the other one paw, yet scholars and historians on the other. And that's not even beginning about their seemingly contradictory positions when it comes to bears and other species. Rivals of the North. Clan Swarfpels, the Lords of the Thunder, has long been an enemy of Clan Vulgar. For many years, long before the clans were united, they waged many wars against us in an attempt to destroy what they saw as a disgraceful and honorable and dishonorable to the Ursan tradition. While we had beaten them back time and time again, when Swarfpels gained Skyfling as an ally in the unification campaign, Vulgar suffered immensely as a result of the brutalization that followed. The clan had teetered on the brink of destruction, only narrowly saving itself by allowing the mass return of exiles such as Princess Era herself, which had further ostracized Vulgar from Swarfpels. And yet, for all its brutality, Clan Swarfpels is still considered to be one of the most intellectual and scientifically advanced clans due to its seemingly contradictory stances on things. The clan itself is incredibly brutal and warlike, yet its leaders are cultured in both bear history and tradition. They opposed change and advancements when suggested, yet was one of Paul Wellington's most loyal supporters when he led the polar bear lands. And even with all their focus on the strength of a creature, they enjoyed the company of the penguins of all races. But now it seems that they have descended into paranoia, where in the fallen north, they separated the despot in the first place, believing that all the recent problems had been solely the cause of changeling infiltrators. Any bear that seeks to get close to the clan must fight a duel to prove their identity as a bear, something that proved troublesome to overcome. An enigmatic situation. water is good. Hey everyone, make sure to drink water. Water's good. Don't die. Don't die. If you die, you don't get to like this video, and that would be horrible. The Battle of River Morale. We know that the subversions of Clan SWAT's pills can be achieved, but only through a show of force significant enough to impress them. Well, then the only solution is to show them that even if we come back from the south, the winter within us is still strong. And yeah, I want to check out all the different things like normal. But I think for now, I'm going to go ahead and end this episode. I hope you enjoyed, and if you did, like, comment, subscribe, and hit the bell button. And as always, peace.